Is it really worth it? Can this plugin really get you to John Mayer's iconic sounds? Today we're going deep into Neural DSP's archetype John Mayer X, the new guitar plugin made from Neural DSP. I want to know if you can actually get closer to John Mayer's sounds with it, and if it also fits my style of playing and my style of work, which is a little bit more into the metal and rock direction. This Neural DSP plugin includes all the core tools that John Mayer apparently uses in his studio recording rig. The great thing about the Neural DSP plugins is that they work as a standalone program. That means that you don't have to use a DAW, meaning a recording software, in order to use it, which gives you a ton of flexibility. So the current price is 199 euros, but if you want to use the 14-day trial version, I highly encourage you to do that because it doesn't have any restrictions. So you really get to know the plugin really well. You can already record with it to try it out and to see if it really fits your workflow and your sounds. So let's take a look at the interface and what Neural DSP actually has to offer. In the top of the plugin, you have different sections. Now we're gonna start with the pre-effect section, where we have 5 available pedals for you. The first pedal that we have is called Just a Boost, which is just a clean boost pedal, as it says in the name. If you listen to it without it, and if I engage it, it gets a little bit louder. And then you also have a switch on top of it, which switches between a clean boost and an overdrive style boost. So this will give you a lot more gain. Next up is the Antelope filter pedal, which is an expressive envelope filter. So what you can basically hear is, you can hear a filter sweep, and with the first switch, for example, you can change the direction if it goes from low to high or from high to low. And the other way around. Of course, you have the option to say how fast you want the effect to respond. You have a fast and a slow response. And you can also set the frequency region on high or low. So for example, high or low. Next up, we have the Halfman overdrive pedal. You probably already know what an overdrive pedal does. If I engage it, you get more gain. And of course, you have the level knob, which makes it louder. The gain knob, which gives it a little bit more distortion. If you crank it up, you have a lot of distortion. And the treble knob, of course, gives you a darker sound if you go to the left, and a brighter sound if you go to the right. So next up we have the Teal Breaker overdrive pedal, which has the switch on top, and there you can change between 2 different circuits. So this one sounds like this. And the other one sounds like this. Right off the bat, you can hear that the upper circuit has a little bit more distortion. So next up, we have the Millipede delay pedal. This is a slapback analog delay pedal. Let's engage it so you can hear it. Especially when you stop playing, you can hear the aftermath of the delay pedal. All right, so let's take a look at the next section. We're gonna leave this one out for a while and go to the more important section, which is the amp section. For now, we're gonna disengage this one so that you can hear what happens. Like on the amp section, we have 3 different amps that you can select. So the first one is the Smooth Operator, which is a classic Mayer style amp with a 15-inch speaker in it. The second one is the Headroom Hero. This is also super clean headroom amp, very dynamic. The third one is the Signature 83. Now we're getting more into the rock tones, since this is like a unique 2-rock prototype amp that they have. And then also, which is kind of special for Neural DSP, you have a blend mode. This is like the 3-in-1 mode, where it takes every single amp and just blends it together. And you can see that if you engage this, you can select the amount of signal that you want to have from each amp. What is also really cool with every single Neural DSP plugin is that you can unlink between the cab and the amp. So if I do this, I can basically say, you know what, I want to have the first amp, but I want to have the cab of the second one. Or I can basically take any kind of combination that I want. So now let's take a listen to every single amp. This was the smooth operator. Let's listen to the head drum, Hero. And this is how the signature 83 sounds. And as you can hear, like this one is a lot more distorted. Now we can of course unlink it and say we want to have the last one and the cab from the second one. Or you can also say you want it blended in together and then blend it to your taste, whatever you want. So next up you have the cabinet section. You have to keep in mind though, it is only possible to use that if you use one of the amps on their own. If you just look up there and if I select the 3-in-1 amplifier, it just vanishes. All right, so if I, let's say, take the first one, then you can go to the cab section. And right here you have 2 sets of microphones that you can use. So you can basically also use the same one twice, like this, for example. You can take the microphone and adjust the placement of it, which will of course alter the sound of your cab. You have a ton of microphones to choose from, and you can also upload your own custom impulse responses. Then we're gonna take a look at the EQ and dynamic section. So you have the EQ and the compressor. Now the EQ is a 4-band. Since 4-band means you have 4 different sections of the frequency spectrum. And then you also have a high pass filter and a low pass filter. And then below it, you have a compressor. And the compressor is basically modeled with John Mayer's setting. So if we, for example, not a compressor without anything, not a compressor, it's much more balanced. All right, so let's continue. In the last section, the post effects section, you have the dream delay, which is basically a tempo synced spacious delay, and you have also the studio verb where you can choose between hall and played. Right now the delay is engaged. Let's give it a little bit more mix. And now you have the studio reverb. So on the last step, you have the delay pedal, which basically gives you a tempo synced spacious delay. So here you can adjust the mix. You can sync it to your DAW, for example. If you're recording a song, you obviously need a BPM setting, and this just takes the BPM settings of your song that you're recording. Right here you have a ping pong switch. What this does is that if you have a delay, it always comes in like this, right? Like for example, when I play something, see that? And now if I engage the ping pong, it's gonna go from left to right, left to right. Listen. See, that's basically what this switch does. So you have the mix, hardness, feedback, and time, and you can also tap the tempo. And on the other side, you have the studio verb, a reverb, where you can choose between hall and plate settings. So let me up the mix a little bit so we can hear it a little bit better. So this is the plate setting. And this is the hall setting. And the last step that we have is the verb and tremolo section. So here what they did is they included a spring reverb and a harmonic tremolo combined it into one and called it a gravity tank. Now I'm gonna engage the harmonic tremolo. Now if you don't know what a plugin really does, and let's say you have troubles hearing the subtleties, a great way is to just like go a little bit overboard with the settings. So if I just increase the intensity and the speed a little bit, and then you can listen to it again, so that you can immediately hear what actually changed. And then when your ear gets accustomed to the sound, you can change it to your liking. So I'm gonna just like drop the intensity a little bit, maybe drop the speed a little bit. So let's listen to it again. So now let's listen to it again. Now, so let's listen to it again. Now it's a lot more subtle. And then on the other side, we have the spring reverb. Let's do the same thing again. Let's go a little bit overboard with the mix and the tone and the decay so that we can actually hear what it really does. And you can hear it right away, right? And then afterwards, when you hear what it actually does, then you will continue to change it to your liking. Now, what I forgot to mention about the Neural DSP way of doing things, every time you hover above a switch or above a knob, if you pay attention to this black bar in the bottom right here, it explains everything, which makes it really easy to dial in a tone that you want to have to get to know these plugins. And since it's built like all those amps and pedals that we already know, this is a really great way to learn what it actually does. You don't have to like open up the manual all the time. You can just like play around with it, and if you don't know what it does, like distance, it tells you, sets the left mic distance from the speaker, closer sounds tighter, farther, more natural. Now this is really, really helpful. Now, and right here you have the utility tools. You can manage the amount of input that you want to give the plugin and the amount of output that you want to give it. Then you also have a transpose section. Now this is really cool if, for example, you want to record a part which is lower tuned. You can do that. Now, for example, right now I'm in E standard. And now I'm gonna transpose it half a tone, so now I'm in E flat. Then you also have a double effect, and you can adjust the amount of how wide it sounds like, which is great to make some space in your lead sounds. All right, so next up we're gonna take a look at the presets that we have right here. So if you go to this section, you can find the John Mayer made plugins, which are a few signature John Mayer tones. Then Neural DSP also asked a ton of artists to also make some presets for them. And there are some huge names like Corey Wong, Joey Satriani, then you have Jack Gardenier, you have Mark Lettieri, Mike Dawes, Pete Thorne, Pliny, John Petrucci, like the list is Adam Nolly Get Good. It's crazy. You can also open the preset manager like this, like clicking on a little folder button, which is really cool because if you, for example, wanna just search, you can search based on category as well. So if you want, for example, something modern, you just click on modern. And now I also want something that is like a lead sound. Now I can find lead sounds pretty fast, like this lead sound from Pliny sounds like this. Really great for huge epic solos. So at first we're going to take a look at the John Mayer presets. Now John Mayer is a really great songwriter, and he's also an awesome blues guitarist, and I think the last couple of years, like I think almost the last decade, he basically dived in more and more into guitar playing compared to his earlier music. So let's try out his stately blues lead sound, for example. Let's give it a try. Really important note, don't expect to just dial in a John Mayer sound with your guitar at home, with your pickups, and then going, okay, I'm going to take the gravity lead sound, and now it's going to sound exactly like his tone. It's not gonna, because you have a different guitar, you have different pickups, you have a different wiring right there, and you're also not playing like John Mayer. So a reason why he chose the pedals that he chose and the amps and so on is because it resonates with his playing, right? So you have to keep that in mind, that just because you have like his sound palette right now, you won't like immediately sound like him. And this is not meant as a diss, but he has his own way of playing, he has his phrasing and everything. So I would encourage you to try out this plugin in a way that you find out what works for you. But of course, trying out presets and trying out the way that John Mayer thought about building his sound can be a really great inspiration. So let's take a look at some of those other artists that we have here. All right, let's see what we have. We have John Petrucci sound. This one is called Don't Make Me Shred. But what if I shred? Ooh. So let's take another artist. Let's choose Adam Nolly Getgood. Like, he's the former bass player of Periphery. I think he's still their studio bass player, if I'm not wrong. But he's also their main studio mixing and but he's also their main mixing and mastering studio guy. Let's get touchy-feely with Adam Nolly Getgood. What else do we got? We have Joey Satriani. Let's see, Joey Satriani, John Zilla. Okay, let's take a high gain John Zilla sound. Oh, this sucks so much, cause I have to tune this shitty guitar so often. Alright, what else do we have? We have John Petrucci, Clean Your Room. That sounds like Jordan Peterson was involved in this. Alright, next up, let's try some Jack Gardenier. Sandglass Lush Clean. Oh. It's so hot. Ugh, fuck. Ugh. Better. There are also a lot of artists that I don't know, like Eustace West, Flow State Lead. Let's try Eustace West. Cool. I saw Jake Bowen, Zagreus solo. Ooh. So as you can see, the possibilities are endless. And I think that it's definitely worth a shot if you want to record and if you want to have a lot of high-end gear for in comparison low cost. Like, just if you imagine how much it would cost if you actually bought all this gear, that this would come into 1,000. Also, something that you have to keep in mind, if you want to have a ton of presets that you can just like use out of the box, then a Neural DSP plugin is probably a really great idea for you. Of course, you have to change it. If you really want to use it in a recording, you have to adjust it to your guitar and to your settings and to your playing. So do I think that this is a great plugin? Short answer, yes, I really think it is. If you like what I do, then please consider subscribing to my channel and also liking this video. You know, it helps me a lot. And it also is a great motivator to continue my YouTube journey. If you have any questions, then please just write them below. I will try to answer every single one of them. And if you want to buy me a coffee, then consider joining my Patreon page. Incinerate. See you next time.